Hello everybody. We're going live for Tuesday Talks today, and today we have an amazing soul called Stacey. Stacey Uhrig. I believe I'm pronouncing it correct. If not, we'll find out. Stacey is an advocate of, look good, feel good, do good movement. She's in her own words, a mind flipper, truth seeker, wisdom gifter. So let's see if we can get Stacey here. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for joining. You are able to hear and see me, correct?
I am. Yep. And you can hear me?
Yes, I can. Wonderful.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool. I've done a short introduction for you already. I'm not too sure if you got to hear that. But in true to the talks, thank you for coming up here. And I will hand over the mic to you to introduce yourself and let us know who you are, what you do, and why you do it. That's the biggest question at the end.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sure. So my name is Stacey Uhrig, and I hail from New Jersey. I'm just outside of Manhattan. So most people in the world know New York City. That is my city. And I am a life coach. And I'm a life coach that works both in the conscious and the subconscious mind. And the reason why I do it is because more and more people that I come across are just simply stuck. They're just simply stuck, whether it's in work or in their personal life. And you really don't need to be. And what I know most people want is just to be happy and to have peace. And so what I do is I try to come up with alternate ways to help people gain that that maybe they haven't experienced before.
Wow, that's an amazing way of helping everybody as well, to get unstuck and keep moving, because that's the biggest challenge that everybody comes across is how to get themselves unstuck. We find ourselves getting stuck a lot,
Hmm.
and the only thing we don't know is how to get ourselves out of that challenge or situation, but we know how to get ourselves into it every time because we are always in it, right? And it's
Hmm.
amazing that you are obviously out there and helping all the everybody there. Is it something that you were naturally gifted with and you already had the ability, you continued with it, or something you studied upon?
Yeah, all of the above. So, the coaching business for me is relatively new. I've only been doing it for 2 years, but I'm a chameleon. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned many businesses, and I always found that as much as I loved running a business or being a part of, I had a family business for many years. The thing that people sought me out for the most wasn't necessarily the skill set that I brought to the company, but was for advice, wisdom, guidance. And it was so strange because it could be anybody. It could be somebody at work. I could be in the parking lot at my child's school, and a random teacher I barely even know would come and tell me something really extraordinary going on in her life that she was challenged with. And my husband was constantly saying to me, "What is happening? Why do these people do this?" And I clearly there was like this magnetic draw. I just happened to be that person that people felt very comfortable with, that they trusted to share a story. For the longest time, I called myself a secret keeper because people were confiding in me with things that were so strange, but I felt like it was almost a God-given gift. Like people saw it and they just knew that there was a way to get something off of their chest. But I had a hard time listening to what was coming off of their chest and not offering advice. And they loved the advice and they wanted extension of that advice. And so in all the businesses that I've owned or I've helped run, um, I always tended to be part therapist, part coach, part whatever it is that my job was responsible, marketing, sales, whatever it was. So a few years ago, I looked at my husband and I said, there are just more and more and more people stuck. The thing I love the most about every job I've ever had, every career I've created for myself is this piece. And I really think that I can make an income while making an impact, both making an impact for my clients, making an impact philanthropically, because I'm all about philanthropy, And it just was something that I felt was like a shoulder tap or a whisper, like, you need to be doing this. So I really formalized it. I feel like informally I've been giving this kind of post-traumatic wisdom, which is what I call I have, for like 20 years. But I formally put it into practice as a business just the past 2 years.
Wow, it's amazing to hear that. Obviously, naturally, there were people already attracted towards you to share what's going on in their life, right? And it's very for someone to do that, you have to come across very trusting, and other things as well for them to open up and share those for let's say that teacher that you just shared about, to just share anything that is happening in their life, right? And those people are rare. So you're one of them, because those people, I've come across some as well, where naturally when you're having a conversation with them, you just feel like you should open up and tell them anything which is happening, right? And then you will be given some advice, or even if there's nothing given back, you don't expect anything anyway, but you feel like you should just tell them. And that's the situation. Was that with you, right?
Sometimes it's, yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of if it's something I really don't have advice on, which is kind of rare 'cause I don't know. It just, I almost become like a portal, like the universe just speaks through me sometimes. But even if I don't, and this is something so important for people to understand, if somebody comes and loads something off of you and you don't even know how to respond, I think the most powerful thing you can do is just give that person a hug and say, I hear you. I see you. Wow, that's incredible. I'm sorry that that's something you experienced. Or how do you feel now that you've gotten enough of your chest? Because what I've learned in all my practice of doing this formally and informally is that at the most fundamental level, people just want human connection, and they just want to be heard and seen and valued as important. Bottom line. And so if someone comes up to me and I don't know what to say, simply a hug or just a holding of the hand really tightly and saying, thank you so much for honoring me with your space. And thank you so much for honoring me with your truth. And I see you. And I think there's like this deep energetic connection that can happen when that occurs, that is what that person needs in that moment.
100%, 100%. I agree with that. Is so true. Because majority of the time it is that connection which is needed, or they just need to speak to someone or get that hug. As you just said,
Mhm.
I'm a hugger as well. So if we were meeting in person, you would have been getting a hug from me straight away. So I am just like that. So there's no handshakes or anything. It's a hug straight away. And there's a different connection with that, and there you already then know there's the barriers are not there. You're not closed off. You can speak about anything. And I love that you have that personality, and people are feeling that connection already. So you're radiating that without even saying so. Oh yeah, tell me what's going on. You don't need to ask; they will just tell you.
Mhm.
So you also mentioned your entrepreneurial side of things, which is again, we talk about mindset and everything, which comes to be being an entrepreneur requires a certain mindset. And obviously you having helping with the family business and so forth. What was your mindset whilst you were in those my businesses?
Well, hindsight's 2020. So I owned my family business with my brother and my dad in my 20s and my 30s. I'm going to be 50 next month, so it's been quite a while. And I wish I knew then what I know now. But I will tell you, to answer the question twofold. Number one, I think just believing that you can achieve anything, or that something's available to you to achieve, is ginormous. I've come across so many people that have also been interested in becoming entrepreneurs in some way, shape, or form at some point. And I always see the conversation going down this rabbit hole of, but what if it doesn't work? And what if I can't? And what if, and what if, and what if? And I'm constantly saying to them, whoa, at what point are you going to just completely shift at 180 and say, what if this works? What does that look like? And what I've learned as a practitioner is that, our mind works in pictures and words. right? And that's why they say a picture is worth a thousand words. Your mind works in pictures. So if you see yourself failing, you're not going to try. And to me, that's usually the biggest thing that the brain is trying to do. It's trying to protect you from failure by giving you all of these horrible thoughts to tell you to be in fear of what if it doesn't happen. It's so vulnerable to put yourself out there and expose yourself to possible failure by way of success. But the reality is you can't succeed without failure. It's absolutely impossible. If you are succeeding without failure, you're not going far enough because you haven't tried hard enough. Because once you try hard enough, you're going to trip and stumble all the time. Now, when I was an entrepreneur in my 20s and my 30s, back in the 90s and the very early 2000s, I did not have that mindset. And I did find myself very anxious all the time and very easily overwhelmed. And I remember there was a moment where I was just so overwhelmed I couldn't even breathe. And everything felt so heavy. And I think in retrospect, at the end of the day, I was trying to be a part of this family business so I could be seen and heard by my dad, right? Like if I had to get really honest. And so I probably felt in my subconscious at some point, like, oh my God, he's going to see I'm a failure. He's going to see I'm an imposter. He's going to see, he thinks I can do this and I really can't, right? All those crazy thoughts in your mind. And I remember I just had to get out of the building and I went and sat on the steps leading up to the building and I just flipped it for a second. And I thought, this isn't a challenge. This is just an obstacle. And you've come up against this obstacle. It's like a hurdle on a racing track. You've come up against obstacles before. You're going to try to clear it. And if you don't clear it, you're going to learn about yourself, what you need to do differently, what worked, what didn't work. That's all it is. It's just an obstacle. Your job is to clear it. Go for it. Try it. If you trip and fall, you trip and fall. It's no big deal. And it was almost like a God whisper or like the universe tapping on my shoulder saying, fail. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And I don't know where it came from, but once I had it, it never left me. So, I always tell people fail and fail forward and get up and try again. That's the whole purpose when it comes to entrepreneurship.
I love this, and thank you very much for sharing that. It's an amazing, amazing thing that you've just shared and touched upon as well, because I also speak about this with my clients and everybody that I speak to every time is you need to, something that you mentioned there, that everybody thinks of what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? Yeah, that is true, 100%. What if that happens, right? But you never think of when you're getting into a car, what if I just have a car, what if I just pull out of my driveway and something hits me? But you still pull out of the driveway, you need to go where you need to go. What if somebody crashes into me whilst I'm just stopping at the red light? But you still go ahead and drive. I'm going to use the example of going to work, right? You apply for the new position and you go for the interviews. What if I, fail that interview? But you still go for that interview, right? You go ahead and you go through the process of whatever is required. Lo and behold, you got the position, you got that job. You then go into the day one. What if everybody finds out I am not capable of doing what I am doing in here now because I don't know, this is this different system. Every company works differently, even though it's the same role that you did it. All those are there, but you still take the decision of, I'm going to go and give it a try and I'm going to do it and see what happens. I'm going to succeed at it. And the same comes to when we need to be becoming an entrepreneur. The only thing that I notice it is because the journey seems to be a little bit lonelier than anything else apart from there, right? And that's more scarier than failing and
Yeah, it can
not
be.
succeeding. So I think that's where it is. But it doesn't have to be that lonely. It's a case
Hmm.
of tapping into similar people who are out there already, trying to be entrepreneur, maybe few months ahead of you, maybe, or somebody who's already doing something that you want to do. And it's a case of just reaching out and say, hey, I'm trying to do this how did you do this? What do I need to do? I've got this set up. It's a case of being open a little bit as well, because we are conditioned to not share a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're in the corporate world, if you work for somebody else, you're like, oh, this is a corporate secrecy, we are working on this project, do not share it outside. That's understandable because there's competition. But in the entrepreneurial world, there is very less competition. There is a certain degree of competition, but still it's less. So if you're trying to start up a business, maybe you just need to do your homework on what your similar business did at the beginning. How was their journey? Because everything is out there, right? And then build upon that. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, for example. It's a brilliant network for entrepreneurs to reach out and connect with other entrepreneurs there. There's always help there, but what we always think is that we need to do everything ourselves, and we need to do the marketing, we need to do this, all the digital side of aspects of things, and we need to then figure out how we're gonna launch this, what's the strategies. If you look at any company which is running out there, it's not one person doing all this, they've got a team. And if you are working in that company, you are part of that team, supplying them with what position they didn't want to fulfill. And that's what we need to work out, right? So you need to work out what your strengths are, you're going to roll with that, and who you're going to reach out to help you with other things. Learn a little bit about it because you need to know it, but then you reach out and build that team, right?
100%. And you're so on par with that, because I was just saying to my husband the other day, I was
because you know the parachute is going to work, and that's what was. So removing the word leap out of my vocabulary completely is gone. So I'd never now use that. I do not use any vocabulary of problems anymore. It's all obstacles and challenges.
Yeah.
So it's all gone. So I never actually go say, oh, there's a problem here. So, oh no, there's a challenge and there's an obstacle, because that way you're already conditioning your mind to look for a solution. Because and if you just say there's a problem, your brain is going straight away, alarm bells, I need to protect this person now, stop, are you sure you want to continue? Maybe just take a step back, you don't really need to do this. And that's what happens every time, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of the work that I do is at the subconscious level, right? So everything that you're speaking to is exactly that. The language that we use is so powerful. And what I tell my clients is, when you have a spill on a countertop and you grab that sponge and you run the sponge over the spill, it soaks everything up. It doesn't discriminate. It never comes up against something that goes, oh, that's wine, or oh, that's beer, or oh, that's maple syrup, and doesn't pick it up. If you wipe it over it, it will pick it up. Your mind works exactly the same way. Your mind does not discriminate what you tell it. It believes it is truth. Always, every time. Everything. Everything we think, everything we express, everything we say out loud, our brain takes in like a sponge. And its job is to move us away from pain and move us towards pleasure, right? So if we use language that is negative, if you will, or even what I've coached people on is like victim language, then you're going to receive more of that. That's why this beautiful saying, what you believe you receive, is so, so true. So a lot of times,